on Thursday, obviously, we had our bonding moment. We hung out for a long time. Friday, some of you were here. We chatted a little bit about it. But on Friday, we reviewed, and then they still took the quiz. Because if you remember, we were in the middle of a quiz review on Thursday. We're almost to the end of it. So we reviewed on Thursday. We were supposed to take the quiz Friday. So that's what we still did. I know a lot of you missed it. So over the course of the next few days, I will give you guys options to take it, okay? So you have options. You can come after school if you want to, today or tomorrow. I just can't Thursday because I have a meeting. You can come during your lunch. You can go get the food, come back, or just start it, in class if you wanted to. You could, whenever I finish the notes any of these days, you could do the homework as real homework instead of classwork, and then, start the quiz now, go into lunch. You figure out what works for you. I don't want you guys to just take it today because we had it on Friday, because I don't want you to just take it if you're not ready. Go back over the review that we did. It's also on Canvas with the key, and make sure you understand it. It's just like that. I'm not about tricking you, okay? So the quiz is graphing the absolute value graphs and then a piecewise graph, okay? Just like the review. The people that were here on Friday can vouch for it. It was just like it. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're going to just have to find time to make it up. And I will give you guys time because I'm not trying to force you guys to do it super quickly. Okay, but if you feel ready, think about those options and talk to me personally about it. Like, I'm going to come during second lunch today or tomorrow, or can I come after school? Yes, the answer is yes, yes, yes. Okay? So we have our first test in this class on Friday, right? I'm going to do a review on Thursday that's just like the test. Like, I kind of always do that. I don't like surprises. I want you guys to know it's going to be on a test. So we will review Thursday, test on Friday. So we need to really kind of get back in the mode of, try not to think about some of the other stuff that's going on, and we'll try to focus on this stuff. After I've said all that, do I have questions out there for me? Uh-huh. I just went through that whole thing.
Oh.
Do you have earbuds? Take those out. Harris, I just explained for 5 whole minutes about the makeup. So, sure. Okay. Any other questions? All right. I love my job. I love my job. I love my job. I do love my job. I do. Okay. So, I have these pre-printed notes for you. Lots of stuff already filled out. I do this a lot for you guys. You guys are my babies. You're my one class of this. So I can't really do this for like my pre-calc classes. I kind of do, but it's done through the county. But when we have like kind of notes that have pictures and lots of words, I like to make them for you ahead of time, and then we can fill them in. It makes life a lot easier for you guys, okay? So that doesn't mean just don't listen. It means pay attention. You can write in the margins and stuff like that. So transformations. Transformation is change. Change, transformation, transform, okay? And there's different types. These 4 right here are specifically called translations. Oh, yeah, this is not something new. You probably have heard a lot of this, okay? So a lot of what we do in any math class is go back over stuff that you've done and then take it a little further. Go back, review, take it a little further. So that's where we are right now. So translations are specific types, also called shifts, left, right, up, or down, all right? So you're going to have a function, f of x. Notice there's f of x in all of these. And then you have a k value in these 2. When the k value is positive, it moves all of your graph points up, and negative k moves them down. So that plus makes you go up, the minus makes you go down. Now look over here. This is your right or left movement. We actually use a letter called H. But remember, in an actual graph, these are just going to be numbers. It's not going to say H. It's going to say like 5, okay? And notice how these are in parentheses. That's how you know it's the left or right movement. It's because the number is in the parentheses. So again, look over here. Plus K, minus K, all the way to the right. It'll be at the end of the problem. We'll see examples of these. That moves you up and down. Positive is up, negative is down. But be really careful. Minus is right, positive is left when you do horizontal left and right movement. It's opposite. So I will explain, I'll come back to that concept when we get to those, but these 2 can be tricky, so be careful. But we'll talk about it. All right, there's 3 types of graphs that we're going to shift or translate, same word, translations and shift, in this section. Okay, we have linears, which are lines, slope-intercept form. Quadratics, which are going to be in this form. They look like U's. And we've learned the least about these so far. We've already graphed these, and we've graphed these. These are your absolute value equations, okay? What these 3 are called, these are your parent functions. Parent function is like the most basic form of the graph. It's before you put any H's and K's on it. It's before you move it. It's where you start, all the starting points. The most basic form of the graph. So you'll hear me talk about parent function. Okay? And I'm going to teach you the coolest trick on your graphing calculators today in a second that is going to make your life super easy. All right? So let's first talk about this. If I am given a function, f of x equals x squared, and I'm told we're going to translate it down 4 units, left 2. What we're going to do is write that function. We're going to actually write it. So we're going to write f of x. We're always going to start with whatever letters they gave us. And we're following, so this is x squared. We're looking at this one here. Now, a, notice this a here and this a here. We'll talk about what a does to a graph tomorrow. Today, we're just dealing with h and k. Okay, so just those numbers. Notice inside the parentheses or inside the absolute value, that's your left or right movement. And then the number all the way to the right moves you up or down. So, since I have a left or a right movement, I know I'm going to have parentheses squared. Okay, because it told me I was doing x squared, so that's the one with parentheses. The only difference between these two is parentheses and like absolute value symbols. That's the only difference, okay, when you look at it. So if I'm going to go left 2 units, normally we think left, think of the number line, is negative going to the left, but it's opposite. So it's just left 2. That means left 2. But up or down is not opposite. Down is just like you would think on the y-axis, right? Going down is negative. And that's it. That is left 2, down 4. Okay? Let's try another one. G of x, up 3. So up is positive. Okay? Right 5, we normally think of that right is positive. But remember, horizontal movement is the tricky one. Left or right, it's always opposite. So when you see right, it's actually going to be negative. And then you just have to know where to put everything. We're using the x squared, that's the parent function, that middle one. So since we have left or right movement, we're going to have parentheses. And right is minus. It's opposite. It's weird. We think of the number line, we go to the right, it's positive, but it's always opposite in those symbols, okay? And then up 3. Right? If you just can distinguish those two, I mean, those are pretty easy. There's no work to show. You don't need a calculator for it. It's just kind of knowing those little facts. So far, so good? Yeah? Okay. So flip the page. Let's do some absolute value ones. So all it means is instead of parentheses, we're going to have absolute value symbols here with an X. But all the other stuff's the same. That's what's kind of nice about it. Down would be negative, right? Up or down is just normal. It goes out here. I can put it there now. Down 3. That means minus 3. And what am I going to put for left? Plus. That's right. That's it. Try this one. Just try it real quick. It's notes. I'm not going to get points off. Just try it. And then I'll reveal the answer. See if you can get it. Good? Marcus, were you here Friday? Was your calculator there? Because it's missing. Do you remember seeing it on Friday, by any chance? You don't think so? All right. Okay, so did we get it? So yeah. Just understand, this is always opposite sign. okay? This is not opposite, okay? I really need to make sure you guys understand that. Think about it. Here's all the numbers to the right on an x-axis are positive and to the left are negative. All the numbers going up are positive and down are negative. But this is the tricky part. The left or right movement is always opposite. So that's why right to, we normally think of positive when we go to the right, but it's opposite sign, okay? All right, now we're going to kind of do the same thing, but from a graph. Identify the translation from the graph. So think about where the parent function always is going to be. It's always going to be at the 0, 0. So you can see your parent function right there. What happened? Where did they go? And the easiest thing to do, and by the way, they all move together, together. So you don't have to like really worry about anything except one point. And for me, that point would be this one is the easiest. How did we move when we went from here to here? We went to the right, 1, 2, 3. So I might just write right 3, like shortcut. And then how many down did I go? 1. And down 1, right? That's what movement happened, right? 3 and down 1. Now let's put it in equation form, function form. So this is absolute value, which means it's going to, because of the v, right? We've learned how to graph these. So you can use y, they said f of x and g of x. So we'll stick with that. G of x is, it's going to be absolute value symbols, right? Because of the v. Right 3 would be what inside? Minus 3. Very good. And down 1 would be minus 1. Right? This one, and this is a great way to know the difference between absolute value graphs and curvy graphs. These are called the quadratics. See how it's curvy here? Well, that means it's going to have the parentheses, which is curvy, right? Parentheses are curves like these, and these are like straight lines, like the absolute value symbol. So that can help you know who goes with who. All right, so there's my starting graph, my parent function. I went 1, 2 to the left, right? So left 2. And what? Down 2, right? Now let's put it in equation form. So it's y equals, instead of absolute value, I'm going to have the curvy one. X, what's going to come next? Plus, good, plus 2. Don't forget these have a squared on them. The absolute value symbols don't. And then minus 2 for down 2. Why is it plus? That's the quadratics have a 2 there, okay? And remember the ones we did here, they're called quadratics. They're x to the second power. All right, try 2 more. Here's a curvy parent function. It went 1, 2, 3 to the left, down 1. Left 3, down 1. Go ahead and try and write that one. And this one. So try writing the functions, guys. You could do it. If you don't understand, ask me a question, please. So I decided not to make the notes longer. There is one more step to this. Remember I said there's something in the graphing calculators I'm going to show you? I'm going to do it with you in the homework. So the homework, as I wrote on the first page, is going to be in one of your ripped out pages, but I'm going to give you some graph paper because there's a few that we have to sketch a quick graph, okay? But I'm going to show you the coolest shortcut in your calculator you've ever seen in your whole life. So go ahead and get out page 59 from your ripped pages. All right, guys. So, page 59. Is what it looks like. Okay. So, 1 through 12. What we're doing here for 1 through 6 is we're writing the equation and we're going to sketch the graph, but I'm going to show you an amazing trick that you're going to love for your test on Friday, okay? So, Nate, if you want to grab one of these, like a calculator off this desk where nobody is, so you can do this. All right, so guys, 1 through 6 is going to be just like the ones we did in the notes, but I actually like these because they look a little easier because they're smaller. They only have one thing going on. So you have to really know where to put these in parentheses or brackets or on the outside, okay? So let's just kind of talk about these. So for this first one, they're telling us it's x squared, and we're going up 4. So up and down is just positive, but it's on the outside of the parentheses. So how we would write that here, g of x equals, we just do the x squared. We don't have a left or right movement. So that means all we have to do is put the plus 4, okay? So that's what it looks like if there's not any left or right. You're just staying right here, look at my hands, and moving all the points up 4. That's what happens on the graph, okay? Let's keep going. This one is starting with the x squared. That's my parent function, so I know if I have a left or right, there's going to be parentheses, but there isn't a left or right. It's just down 3. So that's minus 3. If there's no left or right translation, we don't need the parentheses, okay? And we'll see it left or right here in a second. This is just, remember I said we would do lines too? This is just y equals x. X to the first power, that's a line. You can translate graphs. Up 1, that's just going to be your y-intercept, your b. Watch. G of x equals x plus 1. Up, down. You won't see left or right with lines, by the way. That has to do with your slope. Okay. G of x equals x up 2. What am I going to write? Plus 2. Okay. Now these are the tricky ones because they have the left and right, right? Left and right. It's opposite. So right would be plus or minus? Minus. And it's got to be in the symbols, whether it's parentheses or brackets. So you would do g of x equals, and we're doing the x squared again. Here's my parent function. Since there is a left or right, I do need the parentheses. It just like kicks